Could it be that we can only challenge the hopelessness of face-to-face confrontation with Freya Familia? Such a decision is disqualified as a commander. There is no other way. If Finn were here, what would he say? Could it be that he could only send his comrades to that place of death? The commander's responsibility in heavy pressure was about to overwhelm Lily, and this time. Lily. The white crystals hanging from her waist glowed brightly. Let's go. Her voice was shaking, and the boy himself was resisting fear, but he still said it. Let's face it together. Saying that, he placed his hands on Lily's back and pushed her, who was paralyzed with fear. Thus, the light entered, opening a path in the labyrinth that had no way out. The chaotic thought was now clear, and the manic heartbeat ended towards the other side of determination. The girl's hand was clenched into a fist. Please gather the scattered fighting forces. Sweat still trickling down her face, Lily looked at the enemy line with piercing eyes and said, reform the troops as soon as possible. Master Lili'S, these scouts are all included in the guerrillas. I know. Miss Harrowheim, please put on your clothes, transparent cloth, the reverse spirit thread, stay in the grave. Never let the enemy and the city find you. Closely follow Lady Aisha and the others, and be ready to use the level upgrade at any time. Lily, whose expression and voice changed, startled them. At the same time, Daphne began giving instructions to Cassandra and the others. Miss Chikusa, you no longer need to be Lily's guard. Please find Uka and the others and help them. Aisha-sama, Tsubaki-sama, do you know where it is and who the enemy healer is? No, I can't see it here. Those guys are also hiding. The only thing that will be discovered is the battle. Better find it here, but she must put breaking the enemy army's lifeline as the top priority. Please also distribute the magic items to Master Lili'S and the others. Thanks to the soft voice of command and the imposing and courageous figure of the little one, the coalition forces of factions and lords got rid of the faltering time. Mord and the others, who witnessed all of this through their orbis, and the surrounding adventurers, listened to the instructions that were given one after another, and they all responded imposingly. The troops, except the guerrillas, will be divided into 3. Miss Tsubaki will be in the center, Aisha will be in the left wing, and Daphne and Bors will be in charge of the right wing. Now, please equip with magic sword to ensure that everyone are covered. Troops. Chaotic morale quickly regained momentum, and Lily issued orders one after another. It could be said that Lily wants to rely on the Orbi to gain her way to survive. The command transmission speed advantage has basically disappeared. As long as he is within range that Hayden can see and hear, his command voice can be transmitted to all soldiers. Even if there is some delay, it's just an error. The forces completely under her command will definitely be able to offset the Orbi crystal's intelligence speed. So the obvious advantage left here is the sheer number of sword spells of Kratzo. We can only disintegrate the strongest formation by relying on the firepower of the mighty magic sword that well forged day and night, including those prepared by the Hephaestus Familia. Don't tremble, don't be shy. By Bel-sama, Lily is here now. Let me break it. No, it must be broken. Think of that sadness and anger. Freya and her family, enchanted Lily and everyone in town, and injured Belle. Even if it's to wash away this shame, from now on, we must destroy that enemy formation in a mess. Lily took heart, pulled out the sword inserted into the chessboard and pointed the blade at the demon elf. Then come. Across the battlefield. It's not so bad. Seeing the faction's reorganization and joint forces from his own camp, Hayden commented on Lili's courageous decision. Hayden originally planned that if his legs weakened from fear because the opponent was the Freya Familia, or if he wanted to pull some useless tricks, he would instantly disintegrate half of the faction's coalition forces. I despise incompetence. However, weaklings who want to become capable and fight are commendable, the chessboard. In this regard, the little Palin girl who was instructed by Finn is said to have a passing score. In your case, it looks like you guys can cut yourselves with me according to plan. Hayden, who secretly approved the girl, gave instructions. Let them prepare to attack. Don't defend, just attack. Obey. A member of the regiment ran off, while the white elf watched the movement of the coalition forces. It feels like a dream. I'm going to face that Freya Familia. I see, it's a nightmare, right? According to the instructions, a large number of adventurers walked side by side. I thought I could fight if the opponent wasn't a monster this time, so I entered, but this is really scary. It's scary. Naza murmured, her right arm, the silver arm wrapped in a glove, was shaking. Compared to the enemy, the Ground Master is much better. The opponent is a strong enemy that makes people think like that, and it is the strongest enemy among the enemies that can be imagined. Even Naza, who has always been calm, cannot lose her horror at this moment. But I can't run away. I can't hurt Bell anymore, I have to help him. Even so, she wouldn't use the word regret. Because Naza, like Lily and the others, is an adventurer who decides to fight for Belle. Scoot, who was fascinated by her smile, also said, "Us too," returning a determined smile. So, the two didn't say goodbye, but walked towards their positions. Guile, who was fighting with an axe, walked over to the gorillas, and Naza, who was carrying a bow and arrow, was on the left. Adventurers with shield levels gather in the central unit, with a focus on defense, while the two wings are made up of demi-humans and elves, with a focus on mobility. Many familia, all dwarves, please move to the center. In the huge tomb that was left, Lily was giving orders with the orbs in her hand. Adventurers cannot be assigned by skill. Members of the same faction will have an unspoken understanding when acting together. With the exception of people like Naza, whom she knew very well, the rest of the troops were deployed in factional units. In the core army are Tsubaki, Welf, Dormal, and the Mani Familia, as well as many senior blacksmiths from the Hephaestus Familia. The right wing is Daphne, healer Cassandra, Uka, and Chikusa, and the team led by Bors. On the left are Aisha and the Amazons of the ancient Ishtar Familia. Compared to the other two troops, the number of magic swords here is relatively small, so Lily deployed her life here, trying to compensate for this deficiency with the power and scale of magic gravity. Immediately behind the three troops were the mages and reserve team hiding Haroheim. In the end, the warriors took advantage of the obstacles and silently slipped into the ambush position. Wouldn't it be better if we changed the configuration too? Doing this doesn't help either. Then hide here and watch carefully. In a certain ruin, Hestia peered anxiously at Lili's Orbi, while Hephaestus, who moved with her, leaned against the wall with her hands crossed and her eyes closed. On the east side of the island, where the coalition gods lurk, except for the adventurers who serve as guards, no other family members can be seen. The battlefield is located farther west than the central division of the island, which runs from north to south. The alliance of factions that built their base camp in the huge tomb in the center of the west side confronted the Freya Familia, who deployed their troops and swore to protect the House of God in the west side. It's the first time I've seen such a silent war game. In the distant city, the speaker made of magic stone picked up Ibri's small murmur, which was usually noisy. As he said, it was very smooth. There is only news of factions and coalition forces reorganizing their troops. Other than that, there was no sound of swords and halberds clashing or roaring. The island gods, as well as the townsfolk, held their breath and watched in silence. This time is passing. But eventually, the moment came when the silence was broken. It's about to start. Please go ahead. After the faction coalition forces were ready, Lily gave an order to the crystal in one hand. What unfolded before the sight of the two camps was the great battlefield ere the collapsed remains eventually turned into a sea of stones. What was once presumably an architecturally chaotic zoning is now a historic vacant lot with unobstructed views of its surroundings. Split into three large troops, the horizontal team was filled with tension, and even forgot to breathe, and started marching towards the Freya Familia, in the background of the field of view. Do not move. Freya Familia's reaction was, don't move. They obeyed Hadine's calm and meticulous words, maintained their respective configurations and remained motionless. Some were like guards, their weapons' hilts planted firmly in the ground, while others sheathed their swords and stared straight ahead.